Super dude.
And today, first, I'm going to talk about the Juju Watkins injury, which was very, very unfortunate. I cover a lot of things, so this is the first time in a while I was able to actually sit down and watch a USC game start to finish. And 5 minutes in, unfortunately, she had a torn um, ACL injury. I initially picked USC to win it all, um, because of Juju Watkins. I felt like she was the best female basketball player in college basketball, um, which is very unfortunate for USC. Obviously, UConn was in their way. UConn would have had a thing or two to say about that. Um, does help. It does help out teams like UConn. It does help out teams like South Carolina. It does help out teams like USC, maybe like UCLA, to be able to potentially win the national championship. Um, I I still think USC will win in the Sweet 16, but I expect them to fall in the Elite Eight, specifically to Connecticut, to UConn. As far as who I have winning the whole thing, um, it's a three woman race between UCLA, South Carolina, and UConn. I think it will wind up being South Carolina and UConn for the championship. Um, I don't know who I would. I probably would pick South Carolina to win again, but I wouldn't be shocked if any one of those three teams uh, won. This could affect her decision on whether or not she decides to declare for the WNBA draft, because she was for sure in number one overall, and if we go based off of talent, she should still be the number one overall pick. But even if she does decide to stay uh, in college, ACL injuries can take a year. It very well can take a year. Um, so I mean, USC looks like they're a good but inexperienced team. Um, so they might be afloat if they decide to go back. If she decide to go back and win. I mean, this year would have winning this year would have had more of an impact than winning uh, next year, because by next year, I mean, I know she's only 19, turning 20, but she's kind of looked at as borderline, at least talent wise, like borderline professional to a lot of people at that. Well, some people might even think that now, but definitely a year from now they're going to think that, even though someone like Angela Reese didn't uh, become a WNBA player until she was 22, things of that nature. Um, yeah, but she gets drafted, and that next season, it could take maybe that next whole season before she even plays. I'm pretty sure um, if you're looking off of talent and what she could potentially do, some WNBA teams, especially if they're rebuilding, might be willing to bite that bullet. If you're a team like Los Angeles or Dallas, you might the Dallas Wings or Los Angeles Sparks, you might bite that bullet. And be willing to wait for that year, so you can maybe get another draft pick. Kind of like how in the NBA the Spurs has done something similar. Um, it's so unfortunate what happened to uh, Juju Watkins. I wish her family the absolute best. Um, uh, Also in the NBA, we have other injuries like both Damian Lillard. I know this happened a while ago, and Victor Wembanyama had blood clot um, season-ending injuries, which you gotta be very, very, very careful with blood clots. Chris Bosh, that him having blood clots. I know he was later on in his career, but him having blood clots is the reason why he retired early. So you got to be very, very careful with that. And Damian Lillard is getting up there in age, and the trade to the Milwaukee Bucks has not worked in their favor. Especially with us being in the parity era, there has been six uh, different NBA champions um, every season. He's 34, turning 35, things of that nature. And I believe we're going to see that. We're going to see another team that has not won win. And that team, I think, is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have uh, one of, if not the best player in the game. I'm not gonna go that far and say that yet, but you can make an argument. Well, we know you got Jokic, who's putting up insane numbers. But you can make an argument that SGA is the best. Even if you lose that debate, you can still make the argument that he's the best player in the game this season, with how great he's played both offensively and defensively. The Thunder is the most talented team in the league. I think they're the deepest team in the league, and they have some experience. They just haven't got it done yet. But every team in this era has only got it done one time at the same time. Um, so yeah, that's main things I have to say about those topics. Do you have anything to say about the topics?
Hey, any other things I want to talk about?
Oh yeah. That we're definitely gonna get into that. But
Yeah.
as
Right.
far as
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
as far
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
like the injuries go,
They're devastating. Like I feel like everyone, like sometimes I wouldn't say they blew their chance, but sometimes when you but a missed opportunity, it's very devastating to hear and to just see on live TV that that happens to NBA players that they miss their chance because of just one injury. I mean, it's kind of tragic for the NBA. Well, not tragic, but very like heartbreaking to just see and watch like the injury for Juju or and I just wish everyone nothing but the best for this kind of situations.
oh yeah.
All right, that's all I want to say.
Okay, I guess.
What?
Okay.
All right. Now I'm going to talk about a couple of things. I'm going to talk about abortions. Are we entering a dark era? And I'm going to talk about people out there with abusive parents.
Oh, those. Okay. You go first.
And if Star Wars can make a comeback, I forgot to mention. I'm going to start with.
Oh, you don't have to list them all. You can just.
I know. I was just going to list
Okay,
a couple
you
of
go.
them.
Go,
Yeah.
go, go. Yeah.
Abortions is something I wanted to start with. Like, abortions is something I feel like parents, like people that is something people shouldn't be doing, but sometimes I understand why. Because if a really bad situation gets in hand, like if they were raped or if they were drugged into getting into that,
It's YouTube, so you might have to say all word because I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
you know how YouTube can be.
I know. YouTube,
but yeah, I
if
get
you
what you're
traumatize
saying.
me, I understand.
Yeah, continue.
But if it's just it's
Or you
sad
can
that
say
the,
grape.
like grape is what I meant to say. Do not
Yeah.
demonetize this YouTube. That was my mistake. So I just think that abortion is something that I understand, but I just don't think it's the right way to treat lives. Like abortion is basically you're just taking a life away.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, that person never got to give a shot at living a life, and I don't know what happens to those souls. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't like develop into a human body, and maybe they never have a life. Like, I mean, it's just something that is happening common these days. I understand why, like because of bad situations that happen, but still. But I just think that abortions should kind of be like something that you really need to consider instead of just going, oh, wait, no. But it's very understandable why people make those decisions. What do you think?
I mean, at the end of the day, people will make whatever decision uh they want to make. I'm I'm not really. I'm like on the fence. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily pro-choice, and I wouldn't necessarily say I'm pro-life. To me, everything. I'm the most objective person you ever meet. Everything on depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can see like if the woman was SA'd and kind of forced into the situation and maybe she's traumatized. I she doesn't want to do it. I'm not gonna
Like,
I'm not really gonna be really I'm not gonna really be mad one way or the other
yeah.
of the decision because it's not like she wanted to happen,
Mm-hmm.
but if you are having relations with somebody and you're
Mm-hmm.
not protecting yourself and you know that could happen
Yeah, it's
and
true.
now you don't want to face the repercussions,
Yeah.
then I might have something to say. But another reason why, but I'm not saying it's right, but like a lot of reasons why people are just like I don't want to deal with that
Mm-hmm.
is because of uh the
Uh-huh.
where we're at in the world
Yeah.
financially, or the person that they're dealing with might be toxic and they didn't know they was toxic at the time.
Yeah.
um and then they're just going to be in a toxic situation. um um no matter what they pick. To me, it depends on the situation. You gotta give me a specific scenario
Yeah. On what it is.
on what the situation is
Yeah.
for me to give an
This.
opinion on it. And
Okay.
you have a specific scenario
Well,
in mind?
if a bad situation happened to me and I'd make the decision, well, those are kind of tough decisions to make.
You know what I mean by like a specific scenario, like
Yeah.
what um like I can give an example. Like, was it just were they in a relationship?
Yeah,
Was
in
it
a
just a
relationship.
uh?
Like, they're the ones that decide what's best, but at the same time, sometimes it's a really relationships can be big entanglements, and sometimes they're impossible to escape, and sometimes you just have to accept the person for just being in your life that way, even if you like it or not. And what do you think about that? Like, if if those kind of relationships happen to
Can
you,
you can you repeat what you said?
like if you're in a relationship that and you just like wanted what was best for the person, or you didn't like the person at all, it turned into an entanglement, like, and you couldn't escape those situations. Like, how would you
Entanglement,
handle it?
like cheating involved?
Entanglements, you know what that means?
Or like it's just like,
It's like messy relationships that you can't escape.
are you talking about like a romantic relationship, or are you talking about what type of relationship you talking about?
Like a relationship in general, any kind of relationship with those kind of issues.
I mean, I'm not gonna bound myself to nothing I don't want to be bound to in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
I distance myself, honestly,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
because it is truly it is truly uh a new day. And nah, I don't want to get unless you want to talk unless you gonna get economical, because I already made my video about the economy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Uh,
But I think I've already told what I wanted to off of this topic. Let's. So anyway, I'm gonna move on to my next topic. Are we entering a dark era of the world? Like, are we entering a dark state of the world in our time? Like, there's been lots of dark things. People have been losing jobs, like, to politics. Like, ever since Donald Trump took over president, people lost a lot of jobs. And I feel like that it's a lot more harder for people financially and mentally to get to, just get the, to just those issues, or just sometimes impossible to just
yeah,
do that
financially, and
mentally.
people like don't really want to unite.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Um, like I kind of talked about this before. You know, like when people that was fighting against like segregation, things of that nature, you only really had, so I'll briefly touch on it. You only really had one Malcolm X. You only really had one Martin Luther King. Like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they disagree. They had the same principle.
Yeah,
When you really look deep into it, um, but they just had different views on it. They did their best not to really diss each other
yeah,
publicly, uh, but you didn't really see them. I don't think you really saw them both like speaking together.
yeah,
So for certain things, I'll use that as an example. Like you can't just have one Malcolm X or one Martin Luther King.
no, you
I'm just
can't.
using that as an example. Because like Doctor like because even though they may not get assassinated like they did, they're gonna find something to tear your tear your character down, as Dr. Umar.
That's true.
Uh, I'm pretty sure people heard about him. And I'm not saying what he did was what happened was right. With him having a 22-year-old daughter that he allegedly didn't take care of.
Yeah,
But the reason why they dig so deep to find that information out is to tear him down.
yeah,
Or I'll even go on the sports route, or someone uh like Skip Bayless. They've accused him of certain things to tear him down,
yeah.
things of that nature.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. People just want to tear other people down these days. I mean, they make poor choices now. That's the way we have to live.
It's a dog. It's a dog. It's truly a dog eat dog world.
That is, yeah, it's true. I mean, I mean, we want to live in just a place of peace and harmony, but we can't get that anymore. Even if we try. Even no matter how hard you try, you can't get it. You're never gonna get it. You just have to embrace the world that you're living in. And if you don't like it, then you're just not gonna. You're just gonna have a pretty poor life. So people gotta learn to accept those kinds of things, even if they want. I'm not saying don't do the right thing always. It's just do at least that. Just do right in this like dog eat dog world that you were talking about, so you could try to make it a little bit better. Because you can't just make the world better automatically. You have to take little tiny steps into getting that there. Like, I mean, we'll see what happens, but let us know what you guys think about this, and jump in the comments and let us know what you think in the comments below. All right, I'm gonna move on to one last topic. I know I brought up the Star Wars one, but I realized I want to save that one for another time. So I'm gonna go into my last topic. People with abusive parents. That's another dark thing, but I feel like we didn't talk about that yet.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's tough because it's. I want you to go first. I want you to go first.
People with those kinds of tragedies, it's probably kind of the worst tragedy ever because they kind of ruin their child. You can give them the health they needed, the education, the nothing. They just gave them absolutely nothing but abuse, physically, mentally. I mean, I understand why people are like that. Either something terrible happened, or they're just not willing to just be a good person, or they were just wanting more from their life. And I just think that people like that probably don't deserve to be parents. Or maybe if they don't want to do it, then just put your kid in a foster care. Whether you like it or not, it's kind of the best thing for the kid, so so they don't have to be abused by you. It's terrible that people still have this kind of situations and incidents that happen to them. And it's very common. It's common with that. But I think that this kind of thing might keep going because, like I said, there's a lot of stupid people out there that we've been talking about. And that's kind of one of the biggest issues. But what do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, it's not good. This this two different. This physical. It's definitely physical, and it's I guess mental or emotional. I guess some. Um, but I think it it is kind of easier to get away from it now than it was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But for some people, it's not. Um, as far as the fit like if it's physical, it's kind of easier. But because it's I guess mentally it's certain things that I guess maybe a lot of people
Uh-huh.
you see it in
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
You
yeah,
see it,
yeah.
shoot, you see it in politics. You see it in a lot of things. There's a lot of things
You really
that
do.
people pass down
Mm-hmm.
that they don't even realize they passing down and it's messing up
Yeah, yeah,
they child
exactly.
mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like uh, I don't know why people are so shocked about these DEI laws when guess what year Donald Trump was born?
Yeah, exactly.
Not 1946.
Yeah.
Segregation had just ended when he was like 18 or 19
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So even if he wasn't inherently racist, there's certain things that from the generation that he grew up from
Yeah.
that I'm trying to be as jacked up as possible, that he inherited,
Yeah.
whether he directly know that he
Mm-hmm.
inherited or not.
Yeah.
That kind of got installed into him.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. I mean, I'm pretty sure lots of people have abusive parents, like Michael Jackson, child stars sometimes have it. Like, there's so many celebrities I could go over, but I don't want to waste time. But I just
Yeah.
think people like that deserve extra support and deserve, like, to be more supported than they actually think they are. Because of that, sometimes, like, if you're pushed so hard to your limit, eventually you're just gonna lose control of yourself and just not
Yeah.
appreciate life.
I think the best thing people can do in general is tell other people the truth.
Yeah.
But the the truth will set you free, but also the truth can cause chaos, and that's what people don't want
Yeah,
to hear.
that's the thing. It can
The truth,
cause, like, an
the people.
abundant chaos. That's crazy. I don't understand why people think that will do that kind of crap. What do you think? It,
Yeah, I
it,
mean, a lot like I think a lot of people in position of power is not really going to tell you the full truth anyway.
yeah.
It's about it's about what brings the paper. So and it's about getting more paper and more paper and more.
Yeah. Just more and more. That's all people care about usually these days. It's just more power, more dominance to their.
But one thing I'll say, I think Donald Trump tried to buy the Buffalo Bills back in 2015,
Huh?
but even before he was the president, most people that go for president got a lot of money, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, he had all the money in the world. He still didn't have enough money to
Ugh.
buy the Buffalo Bills. You know how insane that is?
That's pretty insane.
He still didn't have enough money to buy the Buffalo Bills. And a comment that he made was, okay, y'all made sure I couldn't buy the Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna run for
Yeah.
president.
Yeah.
And he did that.
Yeah.
But one other thing I noticed is every time he ran for president and won, he went up against a woman. And when he went up against Joe Biden, he lost.
Yeah.
Um, you can like the country is still kind of like it's interesting. The country is still kind of sexist, but then they're promoting certain things. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Hmm.
There's no there's no consistent. I'm not saying I'm not saying they they did things or things was better in different decades, but at least at least 20, 30 years ago, at least from the outside looking in, because I'm all three baby.
Yeah.
Um, there was some sort of consistency with certain things.
There was. That's true. Well, it's just sad that people are just like this these days. I don't know if it's gonna get better or worse. I mean, I don't know what to say anymore about this kind of stuff because people are just making bad choices. So I don't know what the world's gonna become probably in the next 30, maybe 20 to 30 years. But I guess, but like I said, that's far away. So we'll see what happens in that case. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.
Peace.